Hey everybody, it is I, Talia Flores, with another video. And before we get into this video, right off the bat, I'm just going to tell you guys this video is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be talking about what's going on in Broward County regarding our high-risk teachers that have critical conditions. As you know, due to the pandemic, a lot of schools have been going virtually. A lot of people have opted to do homeschool instead of real life learning, which is fine. And this is something Broward County schools have been doing since the start of the pandemic, actually. I went to school in Broward County for 11 years before getting into homeschool, and although my experiences may not have been great, I still got to meet some of my greatest teachers who I still keep in contact with today. So there was an upside to me attending Broward County public schools. Now, mostly Ms. Van Horn, meeting her was like the best thing ever. Now, Superintendent, and forgive me if I'm pronouncing his name wrong, Robert Runcie. He betrayed all teachers with pre-existing conditions. He has been failing to protect them for quite a while now, because you want to know what's going on is he plans to end mostly all online learning, and he wants those teachers with pre-existing conditions such as cancer, kidney disease, Lyme disease, and much more to go back into the public school system in person and risk their lives due to COVID. After you promise to protect them as the people who work for you in this community, Mr. Robert. And to be honest with you, sir, I would be yelling right now, but as I thought about yelling at you, but that is not the proper thing to do. If you want to be an advocate, use your voice. That's what I was always taught to do, and use it in a polite way. So I'm gonna politely tell you what I think of what you're trying to pull right now, especially for those teachers with pre-existing conditions. You're basically telling them you have to go back to work in person or lose your income. You're not giving them the option. What is wrong with you? It's a shame that we have people like you running our school board, and people that we trust to protect people with pre-existing conditions, especially these teachers, because let me tell you one thing, teaching is a difficult job. And shout out to all my teachers out there. Y'all are doing such a great job, especially now in this pandemic. But now, Mr. Robert Runcie, you're telling these teachers that they have to go back and risk their lives because you're sick and tired of the virtual learning, or it's not convenient for you anymore, so you're just gonna allow them to suffer and live in fear and have anxiety and have to wonder, well, if I catch this disease from another student, I'm going to go back to my family and I'm going to give it to them. Not only that, I'm high risk. It's really disappointing that I have to come on here as a former Broward County student, and I was a Broward County student for 11 years. And I have a pre-existing condition. I have cerebral palsy. So I can only imagine what fear is going through these employees' minds. Instead of you instead of you putting fear in their head, instead of you having them pick between their income or their health, you should be giving them awards for what they're doing out there. By you telling someone, okay, by you telling someone, oh, choose between your health and your income. Don't you think that's kind of selfish because ultimately they're going to choose their health, but yet they're going to have to struggle financially because you, my friend, want to be a selfish donkey? Yes, and I say donkey because I don't want to curse on YouTube. Because you want to be selfish and you want to be naive to the fact of what teachers have to go through on a day-to-day basis with pre-existing conditions. Like, honestly, I commend all these teachers for going in the front lines and still doing what they love to do despite their pre-existing conditions, because let me tell you something. It could be very hard to have a pre-existing condition and still live day-to-day life. And by you doing that, you're stripping them from the community. You're stripping them from society. And you ought to be ashamed. You ought to be stripped. You ought to be removed from your position. Because anybody in the student union, in the teacher union, anybody working for schools would put the protection of their employees and the people that are trying to make their schools great and successful first. This is a disgrace. This is a disgrace in Broward County. I don't know what you guys are doing when you come to these board meetings, but y'all, you really need to get it together. Because this is not something that I'm gonna shut up about. You know, as somebody that's an advocate, as somebody that has a pre-existing condition, a bunch of my friends with cerebral palsy are teachers, and they could easily be in this position that you're putting your employees in now. These teachers that go out in the front lines and do what they love to do. So, honestly, Mr. Robert, I'm asking you to do the right thing and make this right. Because by you doing this, you failed Broward County Schools. You failed to do your job as the leader of the pact. Basically, you're failing the community. And you ought to be ashamed of yourself. So, I'm just going to give you the option here. Because I am going to contact you in your office because I feel like you're being ridiculous, and you're probably going to get a ton of emails from me because, you know, this is the reason why I advocate. I don't just advocate because I have cerebral palsy and I want to help others with cerebral palsy. I want to help others with other pre-existing conditions as well. And this is part of my field. So yes, you just messed with the wrong one, buddy. Be prepared to get your horn pulled, because I'm not shutting up. And I can guarantee you, this isn't the last time you're gonna see me. So, yes, I will be calling your office. And I will be demanding some answers as a former Broward County student. Because what you're doing, my friend, is highly wrong, highly disrespectful, and you ought to be ashamed of yourself. This is Tylea Flores, and I approve this message. And for those of you that are in Broward County, parents, teachers, students, staff, former students, I recommend you start getting your butts in gear and you start writing to these people. Even, because this is ridiculous. No teacher should have to choose between their health or their income. That's just ridiculous. It it's it's basically continuing the stigmas of disability. It's basically going one step backwards, although the ADA was passed 30 years ago, which is something I recommend all these people with pre-existing conditions do. Use the ADA to your advantage, and use the fact that you have this situation to your advantage, and report this man for breaking the law and come together and make a difference, because Robert Runcie, you are one awful, awful leader, my friend. Do something and make it right. And once you do that, I want you to apologize to all these teachers that you're making them choose, for making them choose between their income and their health. That's just ridiculous. Anyway, I hope you have a great day, and talk to you guys later. And if you guys want more information on this, I'll put the link to each and every video down below. This is Advocate Tylea Flores stomping on TP. Over and out, y'all. Bye.